The St. Kitts Nevis Information Service SKNIS is pleased to present Current Speeches. In this edition of Current Speeches, we present remarks by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris at a recent meeting with Permanent Secretaries and other senior-level civil servants.
I want to, in my own way, welcome all of you to this initial encounter, and I hope it is the first of many we will have over the next couple of weeks, months, and years as we try, as it were, to reposition and recalibrate government in St. Kitts and Nevis. This new government has a mandate, and we want this mandate to be implemented expeditiously, carefully, thoughtfully, and honestly. And we will insist on that from day one. The fundamental pillar on which we rely will be you, the dedicated civil servants who have a duty to implement the policies of this new administration, whatever it is, your views and them. Certainly, as is the norm in reconciliation of policy projections of parties and their implementation in government, there will be need for appropriate advice as to whether or not some of the policies that we have put could reasonably be done in the manner in which we may have outlined them. And we certainly would welcome your views with respect to these. Our program, which has had overwhelming public acceptance, are well documented in our Agenda for Prosperity, the blueprint for the new government set out in our manifesto. I believe it would be helpful for those who are part of the decision-making in the government to peruse the document so that you could begin to think about those things that we have identified as our priorities so that you could provide appropriate support to these particular initiatives. The civil service fundamentally has long been expected to be a civil service that is competent, that is versatile, that is able to adjust, and a civil service that understands that ultimately it is in service of the people to the implementation of the initiatives of the government. And the civil service which we will work with is not one which we are asking to take on or to adopt any party political color. We are saying whatever it is your political alliance, you are expected to work in a cooperative way with this government put in place by the people. This is the process of democracy. And that is why the civil service has long, many years now, ancient history, always been expected to be one that shows independence, that shows restraint in terms of political engagement. And that is the civil service that we will try to nurture. Because once the civil service becomes too politicized, you're going to have difficulty with the civil service being able to serve whatever government. Governments come and government will go. That has long been the reality in every democracy. The civil service is expected to remain and to remain resilient and helpful, whatever government is in place. That is the fresh start which we want. That is the fresh start which we expect. That whatever may have been persons' personal preferences, we are fresh out an election, on with the job of government and governance. And that is why we thought that it was necessary that we should meet so expeditiously with you so that you could begin to frame your mind. And the Honorable Attorney General said quite clearly that from the platform we consistently said that there will be no victimization. We are committed to that. We expect you to do your own part to ensure that we are able to fulfill our mandate, which we intend to do very vigorously. The Attorney General made reference to two planks, and which we fought the elections. Democracy, democracy, democracy. In our view, that was under threat. And we see that magnify in ways. The delay in the motion of no confidence was perhaps the most obvious way in which democracy was under constant threat. And if I should be honest, the second most obvious experience with that, in the dying days of the administration now gone, they attempted, through the force of manipulation, to gerrymander the boundaries. And it exposed the absence of political morality as outlined by the judges at the Court of Appeal. Our sense of justice was outraged. And as we walked through the length and breadth of St. Kitts and Nevis, in the churches, in the supermarkets, people came and they said to me, as they would have said to some of our candidates, this is not the St. Kitts we want to be a part of. I remember one person, now an economic citizen, told me, I came from the Far East. I fled for democracy. I want to live in a democratic St. Kitts and Nevis. Part of the democracy requires that there be good governance, and we certainly are committed to that particular agenda. Part of the lived experience in democracies is that people have freedom to pursue the good life. Hence our program of Prosperity for All, which we want to give people a chance for a fair share, or some may say a fairer share, in the development of the country. So our program, democracy being deepened, development being people-centered, provides the broad focus for the new administration. I want to encourage the permanent secretaries, as would be a norm, that once the ministers are in place, they have an obligation to brief their ministers as to the status of matters within the ministry. And those matters which are now urgent in the absence of ministers ought to be brought to the attention of the head of the civil service so that he could take action on and at least alert myself and the Attorney General. I know that there has been some communication with respect to, for example, disposition and boards. And certainly as a new incoming administration, we want to be able to look at board appointments to see whether they are consistent with our own program of offering to the public of St. Kitts and Nevis. And in keeping with long-established traditions, we would expect that persons on board would give the new administration a chance to review, and that they will do the decent thing and tender their resignation so that the process of transition could be smooth and clear. I want to commend Mr. Newton because in many ways he has been a model of what we would like in the civil service. I commend him because I am aware that when we needed the support to be able to facilitate my own appointment and that of the Honorable Attorney General, he very readily answered the request to come out of his rest or otherwise to be able to facilitate the process. And Mr. Newton, I didn't say that before, but I must say now publicly that I certainly do appreciate that kind of support and that kind of service and cooperation. It tells me that your head is in the right place, and I commend that kind of support. I want to thank both you and the S3, I think Mrs. Bullen Thompson, who basically facilitated so far and has been very instrumental in getting us as far as we have reached at this particular moment in time. I have every confidence that not only you and Mrs. Bullen Thompson are available to provide the professional support that this government requires and which the people truly need from you, but that there are others so minded, and I wish to commend them and to commend you. I should end perhaps by reaffirming the values of no victimization. I myself have lived through that. I understand the pain of it. And I've said throughout the campaign that we have had enough of it from both sides of the political divide. It's no easier if you are victimized by PAM or you're victimized by Labour. Victimization is victimization. And I recall one lecturer, Professor Rex Nettleford, at one seminar which he had said to us, all we have is us. And I marvel from time to time as to why that particular line rests with me. All we have is us. I believe in that is an entreaty to a kinder, gentler society. Because at the end of it, all we have is us. We are citizens of a beautiful country, deserving to prosper in this, the land of our birth. Sometimes we get sidetracked, petty jealousies, pettiness, and at the end of the day, we are not helpful to one another. All we have is us. And out of that, we develop a mantra that we, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, we are better together. And we are together for better. This unity government, this government of national unity, wants to make a positive difference. This government of national unity is about legacy. This government of national unity, and I as the leader have long said for me that winning the election was not the end-all and be-all of what we are about. For me, the challenge has always been and will continue to be, how do we change St. Kitts and Nevis for the next generation? Winning the election is the easy part. Governing in a way that provides the opportunity, that brings lasting change to the generation after us, is part of what I've dedicated the next 10 years of my life in politics to. I've enjoyed 20 years of support from 1993. I don't look to become a gray man in politics, but I look forward to utilizing the rest of the years that I have imagined I can reasonably spend in this difficult arena from which some of you are excluded, in service to the country in real meaningful way. And I look forward, if at the end of it all, I could look back and say that we in this national unity government, by outreaching to the people, by holding dear the values and the virtues of a fairer society, a just society, bringing fairness to all, ending the political victimization, or at least keeping it to a negligible level, that I would have done wonders for the generation coming after me. And already I feel that by the mere fact that 3 political parties could do what no other political party in recent time has been able to do, to come together beforehand, not after the results of the elections have been announced, and therefore the convenience of the numbers game forced them together. We came publicly before, nigh 2 years, against incredible challenge to create history and to honor the memory of those who before us had long wanted unity among our people. Those who came before us, like the founding fathers of the Workers' League, who at Article 2 of the Constitution said that they wanted unity among people. Those who came subsequent to them, like those who founded the People's Action Movement, somewhat 30 years after the founding of the Workers' League, they said in Article 1 that they wanted unity too. None of these leaders were able to forge the kind of unity that we now have, and we have now been able to deliver to the people in advance. We put that to the people's test, and the people have sanctioned it. History is being created, but it is our own positive history that is now being created. And I want every day through the life of this government, people are feeling proud. People are feeling valued. People are feeling a sense of hope that this, what some have called by many names, concoction, confusion, whatever it is, it has become now the lived experience of ordinary people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I know there are high hopes in this government, and we want to deliver. In the last couple of weeks, as I went through the alleyways and byways, ensuring that some of the candidates who were close could make it over the Rubicon. Neverson Street, where I met Jeffrey. John Street, Carty Alley, George Street, talking to real people. West Farms, the Gardens Housing Project. I hear so many young people, intelligent young people. Nothing now go on for me, boss. What will be different? And I had to reassure them, already something different is about to happen. If nothing now go on for you for the last 5 years, why are you going back to nothing now happened to you? I felt a connection with the young people everywhere whose hopes and dreams I want now to excite with the programs of this government. Too many people amidst all the accolades that the country has had feel forgotten, feel left out of the reality. And that is why we say prosperity for all. I want to end on the note of confidence that this government is a people's government. This government, elected by the people and for the people, will deliver the people's agenda. I beg of you, I invite you to give support to the people's government so that we could take St. Kitts and Nevis to the next higher level. May God bless all of you, and I look forward to working cooperatively with you. Thank you very much.